There are hand tools that cost less than $20 that can save you hundreds at home, and most people don't even think to own them. These tools handle repairs, quick fixes, small installs, and everyday problems around the house. In this video, I'm showing you 12 hand tools you can grab at any major store, all under $20, and actually worth buying. I'll explain what each one does, why it matters, and what to look for so you don't pick the wrong version. If you want a smarter, more practical toolbox without spending big money, this is where you start. Let's get into the first tool. 1. Husky 16-ounce fiberglass claw hammer. The first tool is a 16-ounce fiberglass claw hammer from Husky. It doesn't look impressive, and that's exactly why people overlook it. But this is the tool that ends up doing more actual work around a house than almost anything else you'll buy. Here's where most people go wrong. They either grab the absolute cheapest hammer on the shelf, the kind with a loose-feeling head and thin handle, or they buy a heavy framing hammer designed for full construction sites. The cheap one starts wobbling after a few uses. The oversized one feels powerful at first, but it's overkill for everyday repairs and tiring to swing during small projects. A 16-ounce hammer hits the balance point. It's heavy enough to drive common nails into studs, fence boards, or deck repairs without excessive effort. At the same time, it's controlled enough for hanging shelves, assembling furniture, removing trim, tapping boards into alignment, or breaking apart small sections of wood during repairs. The fiberglass handle matters too. It absorbs vibration better than all steel versions and won't swell or crack like untreated wood handles. That makes it more comfortable during repeated use and more durable if it's stored in a garage or shed. The Husky 16-ounce fiberglass version is consistently stocked at Home Depot and typically priced under $20 without needing a special sale. That makes it accessible and practical, not a limited-time deal. When choosing one, go with a smooth face unless you're doing rough framing. A milled face leaves marks on finished surfaces. Check that the head is tightly secured to the handle and aligned straight. Give it a firm shake. There should be no movement at the joint. This isn't a flashy tool. It's not something you show off. But when a nail needs driving, something needs pulling apart, or a quick repair comes up, this is usually the first tool you reach for. It's the starting point of a functional toolbox, and if you don't have a reliable hammer yet, this is where you begin. The next tool handles something completely different: precision instead of force. 2. Stanley 25-foot Powerlock tape measure. The next tool is a 25-foot Stanley Powerlock tape measure. It's simple, it's affordable, and it's one of the fastest ways to avoid wasting money on mistakes. A lot of people underestimate measuring. They eyeball it, they use a short ruler, they stretch a cheap tape that bends in the middle and gives a false reading. That works, until you cut a board too short, drill holes in the wrong spot, or hang something that ends up uneven. The cost of one wrong cut on plywood, trim, drywall, or countertop material can easily exceed what this tape measure costs. Measuring correctly isn't about perfection, it's about preventing waste before it happens. A 25-foot length is practical for real home projects. It's long enough to measure room dimensions, check ceiling height, lay out deck boards, space fence posts, mark stud distances, or measure for appliances. Shorter tapes run out quickly. Longer ones get bulky and unnecessary for most homeowners. 25 feet hits the middle ground. The Stanley Powerlock line is straightforward and widely available at big box stores, consistently priced under $20 without depending on clearance. It's not marketed as premium, but it's durable enough for repeated use. When buying, look at the blade markings. They should be bold and easy to read in normal light. Test the lock. It should hold the blade firmly, without slipping when extended. Extend the tape a few feet and check the stiffness. It shouldn't collapse easily under its own weight. Avoid ultra-cheap versions with thin blades and weak recoil springs. This tool doesn't make noise. It doesn't feel powerful, but it directly affects accuracy in almost every project you take on. Measure once, cut once. That's the difference between progress and starting over. Now let's move to a tool that handles the opposite problem, when something is stuck and refuses to turn. 3. Irwin 10-inch vice grip locking pliers. The third tool is a 10-inch Irwin vice grip locking pliers. This is the tool you reach for when something refuses to cooperate. Rounded bolts, rusted nuts, stripped fasteners, or fittings that just won't move. Here's what usually happens. You try a regular wrench. It slips. You grab adjustable pliers. They slide off. You apply more force, and now the bolt head is even more rounded. What started as a small repair turns into a bigger problem because the tool couldn't grip properly. Locking pliers solve that by clamping down and staying locked in place. You adjust the tension screw to match the size of the fastener, squeeze the handles, and the jaws lock tight. Once locked, they don't rely on your grip strength to hold pressure. That gives you better leverage and more control without constant squeezing. They're useful for more than stuck bolts. You can clamp parts together temporarily, hold glued pieces in position while they dry, pinch off a hose in an emergency, remove damaged screws, tighten battery terminals, or grab onto irregular shapes that a standard wrench can't handle. The 10-inch size is practical for most homeowner jobs. It's large enough to provide solid leverage, but not oversized or bulky. The standard Irwin version is widely stocked at big box stores and consistently priced under $20, making it a reliable choice without stepping into higher-priced professional lines. When choosing one, close the jaws and check alignment. The tips should meet evenly. Squeeze the handles to test the lock. It should click into place firmly and release smoothly with the lever. Avoid off-brand versions that flex, slip, or feel loose under pressure. This is the tool that turns frustration into progress when fasteners won't move the normal way. Up next is a tool built for gripping larger fittings and plumbing connections with confidence. 4. Channel lock. 4 to 9.5-inch tongue and groove pliers. The next tool is the Channel Lock 420, a 9.5-inch tongue and groove plier. This is the tool you grab when something is too large, too round, or too awkward for a standard wrench to handle properly. Here's the common situation. You're under a sink tightening a drain trap. A hose connection outside starts leaking. A washing machine line needs adjustment. You try regular pliers, but they don't open wide enough. You try an adjustable wrench, but it slips on round fittings. That's when people either apply too much force and damage the fitting, or give up. Tongue and groove pliers are built specifically for that gap. The sliding channel design allows you to adjust the jaw width across multiple grooves. That means you can grip anything from smaller fittings to thicker pipe connections without changing tools. The angled teeth are designed to bite firmly into metal surfaces, giving you leverage without constant repositioning. The 9.5-inch size is practical for homeowners. It's compact enough to maneuver in tight kitchen or bathroom spaces, but still strong enough for outdoor spigots, appliance hookups, and light plumbing work. It's not oversized like a full 12-inch plumber's pliers, which can feel bulky for indoor use. The Channel Lock 420 model is widely available at big box stores and typically priced under $20 year-round. It's durable, straightforward, and made from hardened steel that holds up to repeated adjustments. Before buying, slide the channel to make sure it moves smoothly and locks firmly into each groove. Open and close the jaws to check for tight pivot action. Look at the teeth. They should be sharp and evenly cut. Avoid cheaper imitations with soft metal jaws that flatten over time or loose pivots that wobble under pressure. If you deal with even occasional plumbing fixes, this tool quickly becomes one of the most relied on pieces in your toolbox. It prevents stripped fittings, saves time, and reduces the risk of damaging parts that are harder to replace. The next tool shifts from gripping to tightening, especially when speed and control matter. 5. Craftsman 8-inch adjustable wrench. Now let's shift to something simpler, but just as necessary. An 8-inch Craftsman adjustable wrench is one of those tools that quietly handles jobs you don't plan for. Here's the situation most homeowners run into. You're tightening a bolt under a sink, adjusting a mower handle, installing a new faucet, assembling workout equipment, or working on a bicycle. You don't know the exact bolt size, and you don't have a full wrench set nearby. Instead of stopping to search for the right socket, this one tool adjusts and keeps you moving. The adjustable jaw slides open and closed using the thumb wheel, allowing you to grip a range of hex sizes with one wrench. For light plumbing fittings, appliance hookups, furniture assembly, and small mechanical adjustments, it eliminates the need to carry multiple fixed-size wrenches. The 8-inch size is intentional. It's compact enough for tight areas, like under-sink plumbing, but long enough to give you proper leverage. Larger adjustable wrenches can feel bulky indoors. Smaller ones lack torque. 8 inches is a practical middle ground for most home use. The standard Craftsman version is widely stocked at Lowe's and other big box retailers. and it's typically priced under $20 without relying on special promotions. It's built for homeowner durability, not professional industrial torque, but it's more than strong enough for everyday tasks. When buying, turn the adjustment wheel and make sure it moves smoothly without sticking. Open the jaw and check for excessive wobble. A small amount of movement is normal, but it shouldn't feel loose. Once tightened around a bolt, the jaw should hold firmly without shifting. Avoid ultra-cheap versions where the jaw slides under pressure. That's how bolt corners get rounded. This tool isn't dramatic, it doesn't make noise. But when you're facing an unknown bolt size and need something that works immediately, nothing substitutes it properly. Next, we're stepping into a tool that changes how quickly you can handle mechanical work, especially in tight spaces where regular wrenches slow you down. 6. Husky 3/8" drive 72-tooth ratchet. This is where mechanical work starts to feel controlled instead of frustrating. The Husky 3/8" drive 72-tooth ratchet is built for turning bolts efficiently, especially when space is limited. If you've ever worked under a sink, inside an engine bay, behind an appliance, or inside a piece of assembled furniture, you know the problem. A standard wrench only turns a bolt a small amount before you run out of room. Then you have to lift it off, reposition it, and start again. That repetitive reset wastes time and often leads to scraped knuckles. A 72-tooth ratchet reduces the swing arc needed to catch the next tooth. That means you can turn bolts with shorter handle movement. In tight spaces, that difference is noticeable immediately. Instead of constantly resetting, you keep turning. The 3/8" drive size is ideal for homeowner mechanical work. It pairs with common socket sizes used on car batteries, lawn mowers, small engines, brackets, furniture frames, and household hardware. It's strong enough for most bolts you'll encounter at home without being oversized. The Husky version is widely available at Home Depot and typically priced under $20 for the ratchet alone. It's not positioned as a professional-grade mechanics tool, but for routine automotive maintenance and home repairs. It performs reliably. Before buying, flip the direction switch back and forth to ensure it clicks firmly into place. Rotate the head slowly. It should move smoothly without grinding or skipping. Check that there's minimal play in the mechanism. Avoid ratchets that feel loose or inconsistent, because that usually leads to slippage under torque. This tool doesn't replace a full mechanics set, but it dramatically improves how you handle bolts compared to fixed wrenches alone. Next, we move back into the house, to a tool you'll reach for far more often than you expect. 7. Stanley 6-in-1 multi-bit screwdriver. Back inside the house, this next tool handles something you deal with constantly: screws. The Stanley 6-in-1 multi-bit screwdriver replaces several individual drivers without taking up space. Here's the usual scenario. You're swapping a light switch, tightening a cabinet hinge, assembling furniture, or installing a thermostat. You grab one screwdriver, it doesn't fit. You grab another, it still doesn't fit. That back and forth wastes time. A 6-in-1 driver keeps the most common Phillips and flathead sizes stored inside the handle. You flip the shaft, change the bit, and keep working. For everyday home repairs, this eliminates clutter while still giving you proper fit and torque. This Stanley version is widely available at major stores and consistently priced below $20. It's simple, dependable, and built for real use, not novelty kits. Before buying, check that the shaft locks firmly into the handle and the bits don't wobble. A loose fit will strip screws. Avoid ultralight versions that feel hollow or weak. If you're getting value from this breakdown and want more practical tool guides like this, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It helps more people avoid buying junk. Now let's move from turning screws to making accurate layout marks, because guessing lines leads to crooked results. 8. Empire 12-inch combination square. This is what keeps your cuts straight and your installs aligned. Here's what usually happens without one. You draw a line freehand. You assume it's square. You make the cut, and something doesn't fit. Crooked shelves, uneven trim, gaps and joints, all because the layout wasn't precise. A combination square lets you mark true 90-degree and 45-degree angles. You can measure depth, check blade alignment, and verify corners quickly. For woodworking, trim work, and small framing tasks, it prevents mistakes before they happen. The Empire 12-inch model is regularly stocked at big box stores and priced under $20. It's durable enough for repeated use and accurate enough for home builds. Before buying, slide the ruler through the head to make sure it locks securely. Check that the edges are straight and the markings are clear. Avoid plastic-bodied versions that flex. Up next is a tool that handles cutting jobs no knife should attempt. 9. Crescent 8-inch diagonal cutting pliers. The next tool is an 8-inch crescent diagonal cutting pliers. This is the tool you use when something needs to be cut cleanly, especially wire, zip ties, or small metal pins. Here's where people make mistakes. They try to cut wire with a dull utility blade. They twist it off with regular pliers. Or they bend it back and forth until it snaps unevenly. That leaves sharp ends, damaged material, or uneven cuts. Diagonal cutters are designed specifically to slice through wire with precision. They're useful for electrical work, fence repairs, trimming excess wire after installations, cutting zip ties flush, and even small mechanical tasks. The angled cutting edge gives you control without crushing the material. The Crescent Standard 8-inch version is commonly stocked at major stores and regularly priced under $20. It's strong enough for typical homeowner use without stepping into professional electrician pricing. Before buying, close the jaws and make sure the tips align tightly. There shouldn't be a visible gap. Squeeze the handles to confirm smooth movement. Avoid versions where the cutters feel dull or misaligned. This is one of those tools you don't use every day, but when you need it, nothing else works properly. Next, we're stepping into something that keeps everything level and prevents crooked results. 10. 9-inch magnetic torpedo level. Crooked shelves don't look crooked at first. That's the problem. You mount it, step back, and something feels slightly off. But by then the holes are already drilled. The 9-inch magnetic torpedo level is the tool that prevents that mistake before it happens. It's compact, easy to carry, and designed for quick checks when you're installing anything that needs to sit straight. This isn't just for hanging pictures. It's useful for mounting shelves, lining up cabinets, setting fence posts, leveling a refrigerator, installing a washing machine, or aligning conduit. Even small projects look noticeably better when they're level. The magnetic edge makes it especially useful when working with metal surfaces. It sticks to steel studs, breaker panels, and metal framing, freeing up one hand while you adjust. The 9-inch size is ideal for home use. It fits in tight spaces where a larger level won't. And the Husky version is regularly stocked at big box stores under $20, making it an easy addition to a basic toolbox. Before buying, test it. Place it on a flat surface and check the bubble. Flip it around and see if the bubble stays centered in the same position. If it changes, it's not accurate. Also check that the vials are clear and securely set. It's a simple tool, but it protects you from permanent alignment mistakes that are harder to fix later. And if you think that's small, the next tool is even more compact, but you'll use it more often than you realize. 11. Cobalt folding utility knife. Most people don't realize how often they need a proper cutting tool until they ruin something using the wrong one. A kitchen knife gets dull, scissors get damaged, a cheap razor slips, and leaves a rough edge. That's where a solid utility knife makes the difference. The Cobalt folding utility knife is designed for controlled, repeatable cuts. It handles breaking down cardboard boxes, trimming drywall, cutting carpet edges, slicing insulation, opening heavy packaging, scoring plastic panels, and trimming excess material during installs. It's one of the few tools you'll use in almost every room of the house. The benefit of a folding design is safety and storage. When closed, it fits in a drawer or tool bag without exposing the blade. When open, it locks into position so you can apply steady pressure without wobble. And because it uses standard replaceable blades, you can swap in a fresh edge in seconds instead of struggling with a dull one. The Cobalt version is widely stocked at Lowe's and consistently priced under $20. It's not oversized, not complicated, and not branded as pro only. It's simply built solid enough for repeated homeowner use. Before buying, open the knife fully and listen for a firm lock. Try gently wiggling the blade. There should be minimal movement. Check that blade changes are simple and secure. Avoid ultra-light models that feel flimsy or flex when pressed. This isn't a specialty tool. It's a daily use tool. And once you own a dependable one, you stop improvising with things that weren't meant to cut. There's one more tool that completes this under $20 lineup, and it's the one that holds everything steady while you work. 12. Irwin 12-inch quick grip bar clamp. A lot of projects don't fail because of bad tools. They fail because nothing is holding the material steady. The Irwin 12-inch quick grip bar clamp fixes that. When you're gluing two boards together, installing trim, securing a small frame, or holding a piece in place while you drill, you need pressure that doesn't move. Trying to balance materials with one hand while working with the other leads to uneven joints, slipping pieces, and misaligned installs. This clamp applies consistent pressure across the surface without crushing the material. The trigger-style handle lets you tighten it quickly, and the release lever allows you to adjust or remove it without struggling. For woodworking, cabinet adjustments, small repairs, and DIY builds, this turns frustrating tasks into controlled ones. The 12-inch size is practical for most homeowner projects. It's long enough for shelves, small panels, and trim boards, but compact enough to store easily. The Irwin version is widely available at big box stores and regularly priced under $20. Before buying, slide the bar back and forth to check smooth movement. Squeeze the trigger and make sure it tightens firmly without slipping. Look at the pressure pads. They should be aligned and securely attached. Avoid clamps that feel loose or grind when tightening. This tool doesn't cut, measure, or tighten bolts, but it makes all of those tools work better by keeping materials stable. If this list helped you see which inexpensive tools are actually worth owning, take a second to like the video and subscribe. That way, you don't miss the next breakdown where we focus on smart buys that actually earn their spot in your toolbox.